Welcome to Awakening You channel. We hope you found something here that sparked your interest and assists you in your awakening journey. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Channel, Caroline Oceana Ryan the Collective, well, greetings, dear ones. We are, as always, privileged, honored, and delighted, to have this chance to speak with you today. Now, this is a little bit different, because our friend the Sun, whom you know as Soul, would like to speak, and would like to come through. So we welcome this dear one now, to speak through our writer, to share in our energies, and to share in our celebrations of all that you are, and all that you offer. Speaking to Soul, so welcome, dear one. Our Sun Soul, most beloved, we are seeing you, and are beyond thrilled at the beauty of your endeavors. Because as you are walking up this great mountain, as you imagine it to be, this very steep path of ascension, we would desire that you understand that it is a path of joy, and not only of tribulation or a tough endeavor, hard work and feelings of will I ever get there, sort of a thing. So we are calling forth now all angelic presences who are assisting and supporting us in our transformation or transfiguration, and assisting all of you in moving likewise into a place where you not only see joy, and experience it in places here and there, you are, in a sense, an embodiment of it. Now, this will sound strange. And as you were hearing this marvelous piece of work, Peace Calls with the New York City String Quartet Ethel and this Pueblo musician Robert Mirabal, as you were hearing that, and his singing, and his young daughters singing with him in the background, and you're listening to the strings being plucked, and you're hearing these very ancient and pre-ancient sounds that are belonging to the Pueblo people, but also belonging to us, and to your earth, you're realizing that much of the vibration reaching you now comes to you in tonal form. And we see many of you, particularly in your sleep state, and this is for us a great moment of joy. We see you toning with these beautiful celestial beings who are, to you, maybe stars or suns or planets, meteors, etc. Some of them just apparently meandering, not really moving through space, or space-time as you see it, with any real agenda, or any immediate urgency. And yet you are toning with them, understanding the sacredness of their path as well as your own. And you are joining with them now, dear ones. It is the most astounding thing that we have seen since you fell to experience duality, since you fell so far vibrationally, and since your DNA was so much reduced. And we rejoice with you now, that no one can stop the rejuvenation and the restoration and the reformation of not only your DNA, but your consciousness. It is your higher consciousness now shining down into your everyday mind and heart. And this is why, dear ones, this is why some things and some people that you have loved, and that you have trusted, and that you maybe grew up with, and that you have felt was a part of your life, some of them now are going to stand back. Some of those things, some of those people, some of those ideas, they're going to distance themselves from you, and you from them. And they're not going to feel to be very relevant anymore. And why is that, except that you are spending your time in the etheric, toning with these absolutely beautiful vibrational notes coming to you from the cosmos. Flowing to you from us, flowing to you from likewise, our family, Helios and Vesta also. Flowing to you from the Great Mother herself, and flowing to you from the increasing vibration of your planet. Now, that is not a thing to be taken lightly. For she is a living and breathing entity, the Earth, and she only desires the best for you. And look at how much she has put up with over millennia. Because this old crowd, that sort of saw themselves as being in control for a while, have been planting lower vibrations into the earth so as to lower the frequency of earth experience. They've been doing this for a very long time, due to their dark expectations and technologies. And we can assure you, this is no match for the determinations of your own souls and soul families. This light that we offer, which is only a reflection of what we ourselves are receiving from the great central Sun Lord Alcyone himself, and as well, the determination of your higher selves, to be the ones to speak through you even as you inhabit a physical body. Now, you may say, well, that sounds rather nice, but that is not my everyday experience. I'm impressed with your heat and your light, as you light up the world. But I would say that you're way off on that one, because I don't ever feel to be my higher self. And we would say, that lovely presence is just absolutely bursting forth. Just pretty much, if you'll pardon the expression, dying to come forth, except you don't have to die anymore in order to become your higher self. So as you're beginning to realize that, you might just say to your higher self each morning, all right, friend. You are me, in essence. You are my better part and my larger part. So how could you express through me today? What joyful thing could we do? Now, this probably won't be suddenly showing up at a large government committee meeting, or a large government conference, announcing peace everywhere in the world. This might be as simple as plucking a flower and giving it to an elderly person, giving some food to someone who has no home, or smiling at some little one. It might not be, in other words, quite so dramatic a build-up as what you heard in this beautiful song, this beautiful composition that was played a few moments ago. And yet, all of the vibrational power of that music, and of your higher self, will be expressing, dear ones, in that moment. Now, what we would love, is if you would just sit quietly for a moment. If you are lying down, that's fine. If you're sitting, sit up straight with shoulders back, so that the heart space is beautifully expanded. And just move your hands a bit so as to enlarge the heart presence. And keep moving them, they're going to go out a little farther each time, as if you were drawing aside a curtain in a very large window. And keep moving those hands out, dear ones, until you have just pushed them out as far as they can go. Keep coming back in, then they move out again to a wider stretch each time, until the arms are completely open. And at this point, if you can image it, your arm is as big as your entire physical being, and your heart is as big as your entire physical being, and even bigger. Now make it as big as the room. Keep moving those hands, motioning outward as if creating great waves from within, coming together and then separating again, flowing outward until the room is full of your heart. Now keep moving. Keep making those motions. And now it's getting as big as any building or house that you're in. As big as the whole property. And then very rapidly expand to take in your entire town, your entire county, your entire state or province or region, your entire country across the continent, then your entire planet and beyond. Now that love in your heart is spilling out now into the entire earth. You might think again, you might think that as your higher self you must be prepared to go out into the world and end all war, end all starvation, end all illness, and this ridiculous war in space idea. End all the divisions between peoples of any kind, all ignorant or savage or unnecessary, shall we say, behavior. Let's say you've done that. Will you have in that moment done something more powerful than what you just did a moment ago, in broadening your heart presence to take in the entire earth? And of course, dear ones, of course you know the truth of that. You know the fullness of it. If we had asked you, as you were a tiny child, is it a bigger thing to send love, or is it a bigger thing to change things outwardly? Each of you, we promise, would have beamed with your brightest light, and said the best and biggest thing is to send love. Because as a tiny youngster, you never had to struggle to remember why you came in. Why you were birthed into a physical body. The reason was always there. And though your verbal capacity may have seemed limited when you were tiny, you knew the meaning of the vibration, knew the fullness of the power of the vibration of what love truly was, both the word and the concept, and the reality. You are all of you geniuses in how to offer love, especially not only even when, but especially when a moment is difficult. Especially when there is some sort of battle being fought. And really, dear ones, ask yourself, where is the real battle? As we look down upon you and everyone else in this solar system, we see that this is a battle. Not only for hearts and minds, as people love to say, but one of consciousness. And what does consciousness always lead back to but vibration? And what does vibration always imply, but the level of love you are willing to receive, yes. Give, yes. Mainly the level of love you are willing just to be. So in this lovely, beautiful composition you heard, it seemed to be, at one point a cacophony of voices. And yet it was not chaos. There was a perfect blend of individual lines of melody and harmony and point and counterpoint being offered by the musicians and the singers. To remind everyone that that which appears to be in opposition to itself and to others, is really just a matter of beautiful beings of light pushing through the thick resistance of third-dimensional heaviness, that heavy 3D earth environment, desiring desperately to remember who they are. So we would ask you to go beyond the logic. To go into the heart space when you think of a group such as World Central Kitchen going into places of natural disaster and war, not doing the very logical thing. And acting purely out of love. When you think of that and similar situations, you realize there's a group of people who have put aside everything they have been taught about what is sensible and what's logical. So all right, they have sung their note, and they're singing it amongst the madness of loss and violence and conflict of all kinds. They're going to draw on that cacophony which is every voice, and bizarrely turns into a symphony, as each person's vibration moves into the high heart. So we don't say this to encourage you to suddenly drop everything and go into a war zone, and try to rescue or feed others, unless you feel that is your path. We say this to remind you, each of you, of what miracles you are, of how powerful you are, of how beautiful you are. And that you are, each of you, not only toning along with these beautiful vibrational sounds coming in now, which your higher mind can always hear, and which you are singing along with in your sleep state, we assure you. As you are traveling here and there to different places on the earth or around it, you are also always toning with the higher vibration of this cosmos. And the more that is felt experience in the heart space, the more inclined you will feel to do the illogical thing, and to love those who appear to be, not only loveless, but unlovable. And then in that moment, dear ones, you will have crossed over from this left brain obsession with thoughts and reason, into the power of the high heart. If you ask us why we are smiling so broadly these days, pouring so much higher light onto the planet, it isn't only to awaken you and your fellow human beings. It is to celebrate the awakening that is already occurring. And so, any time now that you find music that you love, that you find colors, artistic expression, the beauty of nature, the beauty of another human being smiling, anytime you find a reason to rejoice, know that that expansive heart presence that you have just gifted this earth with is shining all the more powerfully. And the gift of that, is that they are going to come back to you many, many times over. So rejoice, dear ones, absolutely rejoice. This great symphony you came in to be a part of. What you hear now that this orchestra has finished tuning up, and the conductor has tapped their baton on the music stand, what you hear now, are the opening strains of your own planet being reborn. So we would say, whatever dense or dark information you glean from your utterly lost and unmoored media, just release it. All of that nonsense is no longer in charge. All of you and your steadfast love for this earth, you're the ones in charge, dear ones. Most assuredly. And so we are honored, utterly honored to be a part of this sacred gathering. And we send much love, and so much support. More than we can possibly say. Rejoice. The portal is open wide, and you've passed through it. Namaste, dear ones.